Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go back. Right. So when you jump down to verse 13 in Matthew, the second chapter, it says, "And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him." Right. So again, this is like it's going back and forth. This Revelation, the 12th chapter, is going back and forth between Matthew, the second chapter, basically speaking of Mary pregnant with Yahushua, and the deliverance of the elect in these times, okay, and how that great red dragon, the ancient Roman Empire, is going to come down on the elect, try to, get the try to kill the elect. I mean, I can't say it any more bluntly. This guy Trump, which we believe is Nero coming back in the reincarnation, is going to he's going to put hell on the Israelites. But ultimately, what he's trying to find, who he's trying to deal with and get rid of, all through the Spirit, is the elect. That's what matters. All right. And again, Lord willing, we endure to the end, and Lord willing, we are of that number. It says, having 7 heads, back in Revelation 12 chapter in the 3rd verse, having 7 heads, that's NATO, and 10 horns, that's the EU. Now those horns are, I think they're like over 30 supporting countries of that beast of NATO now. So, it's more than 10. It says, and 7 crowns upon his heads. All right. So verse 4, Revelation 12 and verse 4, and his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven. All right. And the 3rd part of the stars of heaven are the 3 tribes left in Israel, the southern kingdom. All right. And cast them to the earth. And the dragon, all right, that dragon is Herod. All right, so again, going back to Matthew, the 2nd chapter, it's talking about how Herod was trying to kill the Lord. And we read that in the 13th verse, 2 Matthew 2 and 13. All right, it says, and the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Verse 5, and she brought forth a man-child. That man-child is Yahushua, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. Right, so the Lord, as the scriptures say, every knee is going to bow to the Lord. Okay, let me see. Give me a second. All right, Salakia, let's go to Revelation 2 and verse 26. And just like Yahweh Shai is going to rule the nations, and we're going to be, as the scriptures say, we're partakers of, how does it say? Scriptures say how we're going to be, oh gosh, how does it go? Salaki, joint heirs with the Lord, Yahweh Shai. Revelation 2 and verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. So just like the Lord's going to rule with but of course, Yahweh Shai is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. So he's going to kick this thing off, man, with the deliverance of the elect and the destruction of Babylon the Great. It says, to him will I give power over the nations. This is speaking of the elect. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. See, even as I received of my Father. That's Yahweh Shai. That's Yahweh Shai speaking, and he's talking about how he's going to rule and how we're going to rule, being joint heirs in the kingdom with him, man. And we're gonna break these nations with into shivers, man. Jumping back to Revelation 12 into Revelation 12 and 5. Slakia. How does the scripture say? Salakia. Let's go to Acts 1 and 9. This is the book of Acts, chapter 1 and verse 9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Right, so this is Yahweh Shai being taken up in the chariot. So when it says, and her child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne, that's speaking of Yahweh Shai, how he sits on the right hand of the Father right now in the heavens. Okay, and if you want to look at it as Israel, that's how the elect gonna get beamed up. All right, into the kingdom. Basically, the kingdom's gonna be here on earth, but it's gonna be the beginning of the kingdom, man. When we get changed into those bodies, to those heavenly beings, when we get that incorruptible body. All right. Verse 6, Revelation 12 and 6, and the woman, all right, again, Israel. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68. Because this is, again, this is jumping back and forth, really using making that parallel between Mary and Yahweh Shai and the nation of Israel and the elect. But this is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. It reads, Let me go ahead and read a little bit more into this. Revelation 12 and verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness. All right. So Revelation 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Right. So, the time of Mary and Yahushai, that was talking about the wilderness, was talking about the west coast of Africa, and certain other parts of Africa. So it says, and when the Romans were persecuting us in 70 AD. All right, so it says, where she hath a place prepared of the Most High. So while we're in Africa or the wilderness, America was being prepared by the Lord for the elect, really, because that's where most of the deliverance is going to occur, in the Americas, and more specifically in Babylon the Great, which is America. All right, which is the U.S. Okay. It says that they should feed her there 1,260 days. That's roughly 350 years. All right. So that was pretty much the time of slavery, around 1619, to 350 years later, to around the time when the truth came on the scene in 1969, 1970. Abba Bivens. And even before that, certain individuals were waking up to realize that we're the people. The Lord was putting the spirit on certain individuals. All right. So I'm gonna stop there. And Lord willing, I could continue a little later. But Lord willing, He was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praise once again to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach me well, taught us His truth, and shalom to the elect. Shalom.